we have another type of expressions which we call increment, increment or decrement, decrement expression. So increment and decrement expressions are the expressions that will help us to increase our value or decrease our value. So we're going to see different ways how we can do this, and we are also going to show you the shorthand of writing some other expressions in C++. So let me take out these things and let's start from scratch altogether. What do we mean by increment or decrement expression? For example, we can have something like x, and maybe x is given number 10 as a value, and we would maybe have something like we want to increase the value of x by 1. So here we have x is given 10 and we want to increase its value. So we want to have it maybe go to 11. We are going to use the same container, but we are just changing the value, taking what was there and putting a new value which should increase by 1. So the normal way of doing it is to say x plus 1. To interpret what is happening here is that when execution is happening, we start our execution from the right hand side because that's where expression is. Like in this statement, our expression is here. So you start with this, and the result of this one is assigned here. That's what we've been talking about. Evaluate this, and the value is assigned here. So when we come here, the value of x is 10. We are taking the value of x here. So it's 10. So it will be 10 plus 1, and this will give us 11. So we want the result of this evaluation to be assigned to x. So this is the increment statement, because whatever is happening here, we are increasing the value. We are increasing the value by 1. If we wanted to increase the value by 5, we would say plus 5. So that is now increasing the value by 5. We're going to take 10, add 5 to it, and keep the value in the same container, x. So that's the increment statement. We are increasing by a certain value. But in most cases, we may be increasing something by 1. So if you are increasing something by 1, there is a shorthand to it. A shorthand to it is to say, if you are just increasing by 1, in C++, you can take off everything and just say plus plus. So by saying plus plus, x plus plus, it means take the value of x, change it by 1, and keep the result in the same. So this is a shorthand. In short, we can just write it like that. This is cool. So if we are to come here and display the value of x, and if we compare and run it, we're going to get 11. So our x has changed from 10 to 11 by doing this. So that's a plus plus, and that's what it does. Okay. The same applies to minus minus. If you want to decrement it by minus minus, so that's 1 by 1. If you are decrementing it by 1, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get 9. So it has been decremented. Okay. You can do the decrement or increment directly in some expressions, or maybe in some other statements. Like here, we can have plus plus here. And somebody might be thinking this one is going to give us probably 11, but that's not what we are getting. Oh, what's happening? So we have x plus plus, but looks like it's not having an impact. Let's see if we can have plus plus x, because C++ also allows us to have plus plus at the beginning when we're incrementing our value by 1. So if we have plus plus x, we're going to have 11. So here we have another important concept that must be known and should be put to the heart. We have two things. What I'm showing you here is what we call pre-increment. So there are two types. And what I showed you before, this one is post-increment. So if you are having this increment statement in an expression, the effect of increment depends on the position, whether it's a post-increment or pre-increment. If it's a post-increment, the evaluation will be done first before incrementing the value of that variable. So let me show you maybe this way. Assuming that we have sum, and our sum we want to have something like x plus plus and plus 10, or maybe to make it less confusing at the beginning I can say plus x plus plus. So we are taking a value of 10, we want to add x plus plus. So this is an expression, but now this expression here we have also increment. So if an increment statement is involved in an expression or in another statement, what happens? Let's try to compile this one. Somebody has already found the answer, and maybe the answer, okay, let me make it to be from 20. Maybe somebody has found the answer to be 30, and another one has found the answer to be 31. Whatever is happening there, we don't know. Okay, sorry. I wanted to change what we are displaying now to sum. We want to display sum. We have 30. Why is it so? This is a post increment. If you have a post increment, the effect of that will not be immediate, or what will happen is it will do the evaluation of the expression first before that post increment is done. So it's going to take 20 and x, add them together before we increment it. When this is added together, then we can increment the value because it's post increment. But if we had it like this, which is pre increment, that one forces it to change the value first before using it in our expression. So by just putting it like that, now we are going to have 31. So that's the difference between pre-increment and post-increment. We are going to be seeing these things often, and we need to know their effect, because sometimes we may end up coming up with something which is logically not correct, because maybe you intended it to have something that should be increased first before whatever, but maybe you had it as a post-increment, and that will give you an error that you cannot determine easily, because that is a logical error. Okay, so apart from that, we have also some shorthand of writing things. I would like to show you how we can write things properly using some shorthand. We can have, for example, a sum here, which is sum 0, and maybe we want to add something to this. We want to be adding something to this. I would want to have a statement here that is going to change our sum value maybe by 10. So it's going to take 0 and add 10 to it, and we are keeping it here, and we're showing the result immediately. And I can also repeat this maybe with something else, and I want to put 20 here. So what happens now is that after showing this value, let me put NDL here. After showing this value here, in our sum, we're going to have 10. And that 10, now we are adding 20 to it. So we're going to have 10 here and 20 there. And 10 plus 20 is going to be 30. And we're going to display 30. Let's try to display this thing. So we have 10 and 30 using those two cout statements. There's a shorthand here, because this is this. This is this. So we can try to write this one using a shorthand. If you want to use the same container and you want to modify it, maybe multiply the value in that container by something, or add that value with something, and you want to keep the value in the same container, what we're going to do is to use a shorthand. And a shorthand is as follows. Instead of repeating this, we can take off this, and instead of putting plus here, we can take off that, and we can just have something like this: sum plus equals 10. So this one is equivalent to sum is equal to sum plus 10. So this statement and this statement is the same. So we can do the same here. We can take off that one and say sum plus equals 20. So if we run it, it will give us the results as before. So that's a shorthand of how you can write those things. The same applies to multiplication. If this was maybe 5 and we wanted to multiply that value with something else, then we could do just say sum multiply equals 10. So this one is equivalent to sum times 10, something like that. And maybe you want the result now to be divided, so say divide equals 20. So this one is equivalent to sum equals sum divided by 20. So if we run it, in the first one we are getting multiplication, which is 10 times 5, and in the second one now we are taking 50 and divide it by 20. So because it's integer division, it will go into that one 2 times and the remainder is 10. So it will not show the remainder. But that's a shorthand, so you also be using this shorthand, or you'll be seeing this shorthand again and again. Okay, so here we have, I think, utilized, or we have tried to show you all the necessary expressions. In our student handbook, we should find so many examples of expressions. Read them, try them out, be comfortable, because you are going to be using them throughout the module and even in other languages that you're going to learn in your course of your degree. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video. Now here in our next video, we are going to demonstrate how to use the online tool for the same. So others might be so comfortable with the offline tool, others will be more comfortable with online tool. But again and again, I'll be asking you to use online tools to maybe submit your assignments and other things. So I would like you to try out the online tools and make sure you are comfortable with that environment. See you in the next video.